expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is Cancer Misconceptions, Part 2. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. If you missed the last episode of Warriors Talk, I talked about Cancer Misconceptions, Part 1. Go over to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio, stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, knowledge is power. Power provides information. Information leads to education. Education breeds wisdom. Wisdom is liberation. People are not liberated because of a lack of knowledge. We are grateful for our sponsor, who is Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emanuel C.O.G.I.C, and he has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Here are your trending topics for today. According to CNN, Gregory and Travis McMichael, the white father and son convicted in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, was sentenced on Monday to life in prison after their federal conviction this year on interference with rights of a hate crime, along with attempted kidnapping and weapons charges. Their neighbor, William Roddy Bryan Jr., was the third person involved in Arbery's killing, is set to go to federal prison actually today. All three men have been given life sentences in their convictions in the state court on a series of charges relating to the killing of Arbery. Two prosecutors initially instructed Glenn County Police not to make any arrests, and the defendants were not arrested for more than 2 months. Only after Bryan's video of the killing resurfaced, sparking a nationwide outcry. Those are your trending topics for today. If you are joined in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show so that they can get this valuable information. So as I mentioned, we did a part 1 on cancer misconception, and we covered a lot on that show. I did not get through everything. We talked about the misconception about cancer being a death sentence. We talked about cancer being caused by sugar. If you eat too much sugar, then it could cause cancer. We also talked about artificial sweeteners. We talked about cancer being contagious. We talked about having a positive attitude and how that had an effect on either your survival of cancer. And we said that it did not. You being positive did not have an effect on your survivorship of cancer. We talked about if you go in surgery and that air hits the cancer cells, that it will spread. And according to science, they said, no, that's not true. So there's so many different myths out there that are circulating in the world that we just keep repeating to other people, and they have no scientific background to them at all. So today, on part 2 of Cancer Misconceptions, we are going to talk about some of the myths and some of the truths that come along with a cancer diagnosis, because there are some people out there that may be just recently diagnosed and they listen to right now everything that they hear about cancer. They're going to be clued in on it because they're getting ready to make a decision that's going to benefit them. And it could be a matter of life or death. So we want to make sure that they get the right information. So the information that I'm giving you today is coming from the National Breast Cancer Coalition, and their information is backed by science. So the first misconception, which is a continuation from part one, let me know in the comments if this is a myth or a truth. And it says monthly breast self-exams save lives. So we know that we hear a lot, especially in the month of October. Make sure that you're doing your monthly breast exams. You're supposed to be doing them every single month. They're supposed to be done after your menstrual cycle, at least 7 days after your menstrual cycle. And we, people really push this because we feel like if you get to know your breasts, if something comes up 1 month when you're doing your breast exams and you didn't feel it the next month, then you can go to your doctor and say, hey, I've been doing my breast exams for 12 months. And then all of a sudden I feel this lump, like what's going on? Why? Because you've gotten to know your breasts, right? So let me know if you feel like that this is a myth or a truth, that doing your monthly breast self-exams, that is actually going to save your life. So while you're thinking about it, according to the scientific evidence, it says that it's false. So doing your monthly exams every single month, they're saying that it does not save lives, right? Yes, you get to know the look and the feel of your breast, but it's not going to save your life. It says the evidence actually shows that the breast self-exams does not save life, or does it detect cancer at an early stage, right? Because if you're feeling a lump, that means that it had a chance to grow. So you're probably either going to be maybe stage 2, stage 3, because you actually can feel something. If it was an early stage, it would be stage 0 or stage 1. And stage 0, you can't really feel anything. You have to be able to detect that on either a mammogram or MRI mammogram. So if you are doing your breast exams every single month, again, you're going to get to know the feel of your breast. If you're feeling something and you know that it's not around your period, so don't be doing it while you're on your cycle. Make sure you're doing it 7 days after your cycle so that you can get a true feel of the breast once, the cycle has gone. But they said it's not gonna save your life by you doing it every single month. It says what it does, it gives a false positive to women, because if you feel a lump or what you think is a lump, because 85% of the lumps that women feel and they report to their doctors, they're saying that they're not cancerous, right? So if you feel that lump and you go to the doctor, they're saying that it's making women have anxiety because now I felt this lump. I made my appointment. I have to go to the doctor. And so all that time you're feeling that anxiety, right? And then when you go in, they may say, oh, well, let's do some further testing. Now they're doing a biopsy, which means if they're doing a needle biopsy, they're sticking their needle in your breast and they're pulling out some of that tissue to test to see if it's cancerous or not. That alone can be stressful, right? Even though they're numbing that part of your breast, it's just you still have to go home and look at the scar of it being taped up and just having to heal. And then they may come back and say, oh, it's nothing. But you just went through all of that trauma. Why? Because you found what you thought was a cancerous lump in your breast. So they're saying that there are some organizations out here that are not pushing for women to do those monthly breast exams every month. And one of them being the National Cancer Institute. They are not pushing for you to do it every single month because it scares women. And a lot of women don't do it because they don't want to feel the lumps. Let's just be honest. I know a lot of women say, no, girl, I don't even touch my breast. I'm not touching my breast because they're scared that they're going to find something. You go to the doctor once a year, the doctor does her clinical exam. And granted that it's not like a mammogram, right? You still have to get the mammogram, but at least you're getting that clinical exam. You're doing your breast exams, you're doing the clinical exams, and then if you are at appropriate age, you would get the mammogram. And if you have a family history of cancer, you would be talking to your doctor to see when you would be able to get in there and get testing done earlier. So the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, they are actually against teaching, the providers teaching their patients to do those breast self-exam. American Cancer Society no longer recommends that you do the regular breast exams. So if all of these organizations are saying that, then you really have to make up your own mind as to what you want to do. But they're saying that it does not save lives. Hey, Lisa. So it doesn't save lives. So I don't want to say don't do them. It's totally up to you if you want to do it. Just keep in mind that by you doing that monthly exam, it's not going to save your life. All right, number 2. The second misconception is mammograms can only help you and not harm you. That is interesting, Shonda. Very interesting. Number 2 says mammograms can only help you and not harm you. So let me know if you think that this is a myth or if you think that this is the truth. You can put it in the comments. So according to statistics, according to science, they're saying that it's false. It says false positive results may lead to unnecessary intrusive surgeries, interventions, while false negative results will not find cancerous tumors. So the mammograms can only help you and not harm you is false. So remember that the mammogram is a screening tool for people who don't have any symptoms of breast cancer, right? So if you have a breast cancer lump or you're having issues with your breast, then you should be getting an MRI, which is a MRI mammogram, which is a diagnostic mammogram, which means that you have found some sort of lump or something wrong with your breast. So now it's going to diagnose that. It's going to give the doctors a clear picture of what's going on with your breast. But the mammogram is for women who don't have any issues with their breasts. It's a screening tool, right? And the mammograms don't save your life. So can a mammogram harm you? Well, it says there are risks associated with screening mammograms. Evidence show that in the United States, a woman cumulative risk for false positive, that's the false positive again, results in 10 mammograms is almost 50%. The risk of undergoing an unnecessary biopsy is almost 20%. So in addition, women who are screened with the mammography often have more aggressive or unneeded treatment. And more aggressive or unneeded treatment, one of it could be that biopsy, which again, they're sticking that needle in your breast when they really don't have to, because whatever is there is not cancerous. But then how are you going to find out if it's not cancerous if they don't go ahead and do what they need to do? So, can a mammogram harm you? It can harm you. So number 3, an MRI is better than the mammography because it can find more cancer. And I just told you what the MRI mammogram is for people who already have issues with their breast. You already found the lump and the doctor is sending you to get a MRI mammogram. So it's saying that is it better because it finds more cancer? So let me see. Hey, my Leah, I had to do a part 2. So according to statistics, it says it's a more sensitive test, but it also leads to significantly more false positive results. There is no current evidence to show that the MRI used for routine breast screening, if they were to use it for a routine breast screening, that it would save lives. I think, and I don't think we got this information from ourselves. I don't think we came up with, if we get the mammogram, that it'll save our lives, that we got that information for myself. I believe that this was an agenda pushed on us so that we can use this method of screening because people get paid. Your doctor refer you for a mammogram, they get money. They get money for sending you to the different screenings. The more people that they can get to go to these different screenings, yeah, they get paid. So it says, however, when used for screening, MRI yields even more of a false positive results than mammograms. So you can't use the MRI for screening. You only use it, the doctors use it for diagnostic when they're trying to diagnose you because they already know that there is a lump there. Interesting. Shonda says, wondering who did the research. Hey, Des, thank you for joining me. You can go to the National Breast Cancer Coalition and you can look on their website. And again, all of the information is backed by science, and they have all of the links to all of the sources that they use. And this information, I know, is probably shocking because we are so used to, I want to say, the baby information that goes around and the misinformation that goes around as it relates to breast cancer, because a lot of the information was shocking to me as well. But we're so used to, not getting the right information when it comes to breast cancer because the information gets passed on by individuals who sometimes leave off information, and we run with that information. Just like they said, oh, the mammograms hurt. And so now some women don't even want to get a mammogram because one person had a bad experience with the mammogram. So now they don't even want to go in there and get a mammogram. It's just misinformation. So sometimes you have to dig a little deeper and get this information for yourself so that if you have to make a decision, if you are diagnosed with cancer and you have to make a decision, that you're able to make the right decision. Shonda says, I'm not very surprised since the test equals small bills to the hospital. Girl, you hit it right on the nail. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you notice, they push this mammogram. They push it, right? And you would think that as many women go in and get their mammograms at 40, that this thing would be catching cancer and, early, and women their lives would be saved. But that's not the case. Mammograms does not save your life. If the mammogram catches anything, that means you already got the cancer. So it's not preventing anything, and it's definitely not saving your life. Definitely. Shonda says, most doctors seem to treat problems and less energy in preventing illness. Girl, absolutely, because number one, they don't know how to prevent this, right? And it's so easy to put a Band-Aid on a problem than to get to the root of the problem. Especially, Shonda, they don't even have enough time. They don't spend enough time with us in the office to even try to solve our problems. It's just like, oh, okay, try this medicine and then come back in 3 weeks and tell me how it made you feel. Oh, and then you have any side effects. Oh, and try this one. And, and all these different medicines going through your system. And they're not really taking the time out. And I'm not going to say it's 100% of the doctors, but it's a lot of them that's not taking the time out to really see, what the root cause of the problem is. And if it's another way that we can treat this. Why? Because there's money involved. It's money involved. I can tell you that. Lisa said they push it along with a whole lot of other stuff and try to use scare tactics to make us move quick. Oh, Lisa. This is so true, especially when it comes to being diagnosed with cancer. They're going to hurry up and try to get you into treatment as fast as they can. You're not even going to have a chance to think or blink. They're going to try to get you in there so fast. Like, hurry up, hurry. That cancer didn't grow overnight. It didn't grow overnight. So if you don't get into cancer for a couple of weeks, if this is not really a life or death situation, you should be able to have time to think about what it is that you want to do and gather all of the information so that you can make an informed decision. You shouldn't, especially women that are young, that are being diagnosed with breast cancer, that are not given the information about fertility, if they want to have babies, if they can have babies after, use a certain type of, medicine or chemo so that I can have babies afterwards. Like sometimes a lot of times they're not even telling these women this, and they pushing them through treatment. And then these women are regretting it because they wanted to have kids and they was not given that option. Not given that option. And so that is really sad. I feel so bad because I feel like if you're my doctor, then you're supposed to tell me the options. Okay, here you are. If you want to have more kids, we're going to give you this chemo, and the chemo is going to not allow you to have kids. Or if you want to preserve some of your eggs, this is the time to do it right now, so that, when you're done, then you can go ahead and have kids. Shonda says, look how long many suffer because they give pain meds for PMS. Oh, wow. But many have fibroids because they didn't take the time to see what it was. So they're going to poison your system with all this medicine that comes with all these different side effects that cause other things to happen, because they don't really take the time to see what is wrong with you. And a lot of times, this is our body. So a lot of times we have to push. And if that doctor is not giving you answers, then guess what? You need to go somewhere else. Go somewhere else until you can feel a sense of peace in your mind that your questions are being answered. Otherwise, they're just going to be taking your money and pushing you along, just like you are in an assembly line. It's sad. Okay, we're on number 4. So is this a myth or truth? If breast cancer is diagnosed when the tumor is small, it can be cured. Do you think that this is true or this is false? You remember, we always hear early detection. They push early detection in October. That's all you hear. Early detection, early detection. So if breast cancer is diagnosed when the tumor is small, it can be cured. That's the question. Shonda said it's a myth. So Shonda, you are right. It says in some cases, even when breast cancer is detected early and the tumor is very small, the breast cancer cells have already spread it to other parts of the body, which is metastasized cancer. It's responsible for over 90% of the deaths related to breast cancer. So a lot of times, even if it's small, and they push that early detection, they give you this false sense of security, thinking that, oh, okay, since you got early detection, that's going to save your life, that you're gonna beat this. They make you feel really good. But what they don't tell you is some of them little cancer cells probably done already leaked out and setting up camp somewhere in your body, waiting on that opportunity to just take over your body, take over different body parts of you. They don't tell you that. It's like it's a false sense of security with that early detection. A couple of nurses got mad at me because I was like, yeah, no early detection. No, I'm not really sold on the early detection. And this is why. Early detection means you have the disease. They just catching it early. But early doesn't mean that it's going to save your life. Early doesn't mean that you're not going to die from this disease. Early doesn't mean that this disease is not going to come back. Okay, let's see what Lisa said. Lisa says some religions require that they share if the woman can still have children. They have the doctors to sign documents stating if the woman can still have children after surgery. Oh, wow. I never heard that. But that's good, though. At least somebody is looking out for that person, because I'm telling you, when you're not in a state to even ask those questions, because you're thinking about, oh my God, I'm about to die. I got cancer and I'm about to die. So you're not even thinking about all of these possibilities of I'm 30. I haven't had any kids yet. I'm in my 20s. I haven't had any kids yet. But they're telling me that I have cancer, and they're telling me I have to go to treatment. I have to get chemo, and they're saying I need to hurry up and do this. They don't, and I feel bad because they don't have these conversations with these patients. And again, it's not all, but it's a lot of them, to where it's a lot of women out here that wanted to have babies that cannot, because they was not given that information. Lisa says this happens usually in arranged marriages. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. But they had somebody speaking up for them, because nobody else was going to do it. The doctor is not going to do it. The doctor is not. It's not really in their interest to do it. Their thing is, okay, let's get you on this chemo, because we already know chemo is expensive. And then when you're taking chemo, you have medicines to take before the chemo to protect you from the chemo. They're going to give you pills to take so that you won't have an allergic reaction to the chemo. And then if you have to do surgery, that's money. If you have to do radiation, that's money. So for one patient, they can get well over $100,000 just for that one patient. And if you got about 10, 15 patients you pushing through with that chemo, and think about it, a lot of people, a lot of women and are overdiagnosed, right? A lot of them don't even need a lot of the treatment that they have been given. But sometimes they'll push you through all of it, right? Oh, so you went through all of it, so you don't have to worry about, they can't promise you that's not going to come back. You just have the security to know that you've done everything, that you could possibly do for the cancer. Meanwhile, these toxins done tore your body up, right? You got to rebuild your immune system, not to mention all of the other side effects that's going to come along with that they really not going to mention to you. And if they mention it to you, you probably wasn't listening because of everything else that's going on in your mind. They don't tell you. They may tell you, about your hair falling out, stuff like that, that comes with the chemo that you're going to see, as a result of it's happening right now. But they don't tell you about the aftermath of the stuff. The neuropathy, the chemo brain that may last well after you have taken that chemo. All right, so we're talking about cancer misconceptions. We did that one. All right, so number 6, I think we're on number 6. So truth or a myth, the mortality rate from breast cancer is higher for African-American women than Caucasian women. This should be an easy one right here. This should be an easy one. So it says, we should know this. It's like it's probably up to 42% right now that our mortality rate is higher than the Caucasian woman. For some reason, when African-American women get breast cancer, our mortality rate is higher, even though the incident rate of us getting it is similar. So it's not that we're being diagnosed more than the Caucasian women, because we're not. But when we are diagnosed, we tend to have a poor outcome. We tend to die. Why is that? One of the reasons what they say is access to care. Like, we may not have insurance, or the place where we're going, they may not have all of the equipment that we need. And so maybe our appointments are getting delayed. Maybe there's, we're having to go somewhere else. And that may take us a while to get in for that appointment. Shonda says, I believe diet plays a part. I agree with you. It does play a part. Shonda, I don't think people really get that though. I don't see people getting that. I don't. Not when most of our African American women are overweight. We don't get that. We think it's sexy. So we're not getting that part. We don't really think that being obese can lead to you getting breast cancer, which is one of the risk factors, is you being overweight. Shonda says, support teams to help guide us in decision and mental health. Ooh, that is so important. I'm telling you. So if you get diagnosed, don't keep it to yourself. You really need to get some people around you really quickly to go to the doctor with you, to get that information when you're getting it, so that you can get all the information so you can make an informed decision. And then go see a counselor or a therapist. Don't try to do this by yourself. Yeah, you can pray. Yeah, we pray. Yeah, we do that. But you still go get you some help and talk to somebody. Part of you healing is healing your mind and your body, not just your body. And a lot of times the doctors leave out the body. They're so focused on the physical. The majority of the time they don't say, okay, well, here's your prescription to go and see a counselor. Go talk to somebody because this is heavy. And you need to be able to talk to a counselor that deals with oncology patients. They don't do that. You would probably have to bring it up yourself, but 9 times out of 10, you're not really thinking about it. And then you be like, oh, I don't want them to think I got cancer and I'm crazy. Shonda says, I wish I could see you. You could see me and hear me clapping. I can picture it, Shonda. I can picture it. Hey, Tracy. This is really sad. Shonda says, having a job that allows you a chance to get well, and not have to worry about money. This is so important, Shonda. If you have a job that is not sensitive to the fact of what you're going through, this is an added stress. It's an added stress. And the jobs can really get in trouble if they are not being sensitive and accommodating to you and you're going through. So there are laws out here that can protect you when you're going through a cancer diagnosis. So you don't have to be stressed when you're going to work. If you got to take off because you're sick and you got to take off for treatment, or you just had treatment and you just don't feel like going in, there are laws out here. And we do, Shonda, we have to work through it. We do. Which is so sad that you're supposed to be healing, but instead of you healing, you worried about, oh God, I gotta go and cover this shift. I gotta work, because you gotta pay bills, because you gotta have, medical coverage. And if you're not at work, chance of you losing your job, then you don't have coverage to go and get your treatment for your medicine. You shouldn't have to worry about that. That's so stressful. Another cancer misconception, myth or truth, everyone's breast cancer is the same. Is that a myth or is that truth? Breast cancer is breast cancer. When I heard of breast cancer, I never thought that there were different types of breast cancer. It's different types of breast cancer. So this one is actually false. It says there are subtypes of breast cancer and they are quite different in treatment. So and I'm not going to name them all, but I name a couple. So you have triple negative breast cancer where there is no, it's true. Shonda said everybody's body is different, and that's so true. That's so true. So there should never be a one size fit all when you're treating somebody, right? It shouldn't be, especially if you have some underlying conditions as well. You should be catering that treatment to that person. It shouldn't be no standard of care treatment, right? Everybody get the standard of care treatment. That's how they do. Malia says, people don't understand that all cancers is not the same. They are different stages and etc. You are right. They are. They are different stages, different size, grade, tumor, if lymph nodes were involved. So if you have triple negative, they're working on immunotherapy where they can use that to treat it. But normally they're just going to give you everything like chemo, radiation, surgery. That's it. They don't have anything to really cater to it. And it's sad because it's like once you're done with treatment, they're just like, okay, bye-bye. And then there's HER2 positive, which is hormone driven, right? And so it's a different type of treatment that you will get. And some women take the tamoxifen after their treatment. Some breast cancers, you don't take tamoxifen. And some of them you do. And I know a lot of women, oh, yep, Tracy, inflammatory breast cancer, that's another one. And inflammatory, correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy, is that the one where it looks like your breast looks like an orange and it looks inflamed? Almost looks like an orange. When you look at an orange, you can see the little holes in the orange. So there are different types of breast cancer, and they all are treated differently. And like Shonda said, your individual body should be treated differently. So don't compare yourself. If somebody else has breast cancer and you don't compare yourself to the treatment that they got, whatever it is that they're doing, because your body is different. And your decision is personal on how you want to treat your cancer. It's a personal decision. Shonda says, we have to learn about ways to put your credit cards on hold during your treatment. Less stress. Oh, God. You know what? I can remember being in treatment. Yes, Tracy, personalized treatment. I can remember being in treatment, and I had to get that Neulasta shot, which you was taking after chemo. I think it was after the Red Devil chemo. And you would have to take that Neulasta shot. I think it was like 24 hours after the chemo. And the shot was $100. And this one time I didn't have the money for the shot. And so when I went to pharmacy and they was like, you picking up the shot? And I was like, yeah, I don't have the $100 for the shot. They was like, we can't give you the shot. And I talked to my doctor and she was like, she needs that shot. Like she done already took the chemo, give her the shot. Like, how are you going to tell me I can't have the shot when the chemo that you're giving me, I have to take this shot within 24 hours? And that's just like added stress. So what if I didn't get the shot? What if my doctor didn't advocate for me and I didn't get the shot? Then I would have went home. I don't know what would happen. So you have to have a good relationship with your doctor so that they will be able to advocate for you too. I know a lot of them are busy and they have, Tracy, what's $6,000? Oh my goodness. Are you talking about the chemo treatment, Tracy? It is. It's so expensive. And the last thing you need to be worried about is, how am I going to pay for my medicine? How am I going to pay for food? How am I going to pay my bills when you're trying to heal? Oh, is that how much it costs? Oh, so that was my copay. The cost of the shot is $6,000. So my copay was $100. That's crazy. Wow. Didn't know that. All right, so we did that one, right? We're on number 8. Is this a myth or truth? We don't know how to prevent breast cancer. Yeah, I think that was the copay. It is sad, Lisa, it really is. We don't know how to prevent breast cancer. Is that a myth or is that the truth? If you notice, I'll give you a hint. If you notice with breast cancer, they never say prevent. Tracy says true. They never say, and you're right, Tracy, they never say, let's prevent breast cancer. They always say early detection, early detection. They push campaigns on early detection because they don't know how to prevent breast cancer. They don't know. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, they got them cures out there. Somebody got the cures. They just hiding them cures. They got them. Well, however, the masses don't have it because people are dying. So it says there are factors associated with increasing, we're on number 8, right? Okay, there are factors associated with increasing and decreasing the risk of breast cancer, but we currently do not know how to prevent breast cancer. And then it says, because I think Shonda mentioned something about eating, it says, we say stuff like, don't eat red meat, eat a low-fat diet, don't wear deodorant, don't sleep in your bra. These are things that we say to people so that we're telling them that these are things that will help prevent you from getting breast cancer. Your diet alone won't do it. It's sad to say that. Diet alone won't do it. So it has to be a balance, your diet, your exercise, you going to the doctor, doing screenings to prove. I'm gonna say prevent to catch early. Some things you can prevent, like they have the vaccines for the HPV. That's one cancer that you can because they have that vaccine. Lisa says, someone knows how to prevent. They just not telling us. They're not going to allow us to dip into their pockets. I am one of the ones who believe there are cures for most illnesses. Well, cancer is a money maker. We know that. So if there is a cure, it will never be brought. It would never be brought to the forefront because it's going to dip, exactly, Lisa, into someone's pocket. Nope. We're never going to hear about it, which is so sad because when you think about, and just think about cancer, like when you think about cancer, you figure like, just found a cure for cancer, but it's over 100 different cancers. So they would have to find a cure for the 100 different cancers. And remember when I said breast cancer it's not just one type of breast cancer. We mentioned triple negative or HER2 positive, when Tracy mentioned inflammatory. So you would have to find a cure for those individual ones. So every time you hear about somebody having a cure for cancer, you hear about them floating. You hear about them all of a sudden accidentally dying, drowning or something. So if you did have the cure, you would be scared to even say anything. Okay, are we on number 9? Oh, number 9, I'm sorry. Number 9 is a myth or a truth. Most women with breast cancer have a family history of the disease. Is that a myth or is that the truth? Most women with breast cancer have a family history of the disease. It says only about 15 to 20% of women diagnosed with breast cancer report having a family history. So that means 85% of women being diagnosed with cancer, it is not related to your family. They contribute to it being environmental. And environmental could be anything, the way that you're living, the way that you're unhealthy eating. It could be anything that's in the environment because they don't know what causes it. So they know with the 10 to the 15 to 20% being a family link, but other than that, they don't know what causes a woman to get breast cancer. So just because you have a family history, it doesn't mean that you're going to get breast cancer. All right, number 10 says, men, truth or false, truth or myth, men don't get breast cancer. Is that a myth or is that the truth? It says, it is estimated that in 2021, 2,650 men were diagnosed with breast cancer. And it says, while that is less than 1% of the new breast cancer diagnoses that occur in men, it's still a possibility for them to develop the disease. So per year, 530 out of that 2,600 die. Yep, you were right, Tracy. It's a myth. We know that men don't get it as often, but they do. And what you can do if you are a man or a woman who was diagnosed with breast cancer, you can get the gene testing to see if you have a hereditary link so that you can let your family know what their risks are when it comes to breast cancer. Tracy said it's all hormonal. Are you saying breast cancer is all hormonal? Okay, where are we at? Number 11. So myth or the truth? The risk of breast cancer is often misunderstood. It increases with age 50 of breast cancers occurring among women age 62 or older. So they're saying that when you are, as you age, your risk of breast cancer increases, right? The longer you live, then your risk increases. So they're making it seem like, they're making it seem like the risk is 50% if you're 62, that it increases with that age. 50% of breast cancers occur in women 62. Do you see that? Do any of y'all see that? Do any of y'all see, just from the people that surround you that you know being diagnosed with breast cancer, that number, 50% of breast cancers occur in women 62? It don't seem like that. Tracy said all breast cancers are hormonal. What about the triple negative, where it's negative for all of those hormones? It's not a hormone. It doesn't have those receptors. So when I think about breast cancer, I don't think about somebody who's 62, right? I think about somebody in their 40s, somebody in their 30s. I don't think about that. So I don't know how 50% of breast cancers occur in women age 62, because it doesn't seem like it. It seems like the younger and younger you are, they're getting diagnosed. Maybe that's what's being publicized. All right, number 12, myth or truth. In terms of survival, removing the entire breast is better than removing the cancer. Myth or truth. Anna said, yes, it can come at any age. That's true. It can. Tracy said, meaning it's related to hormone levels. It does have a lot to do with hormones. I agree with that. So that you said that one was a myth. Let me go back. I'm sorry. And this one was number 12. In terms of survival, removing the entire breast is better than removing the cancer. So they're saying if you get a lumpectomy, if you get a mastectomy, that your survival or reoccurrence chance is the same. It's a personal choice, whether you remove it or not, the whole entire breast. It says completely removing the breast, known as a mastectomy, is not more effective than just taking out the cancer, known as a lumpectomy. So it's really a personal choice for the woman on what she wants to get. It doesn't have anything to do with your outcome. Number 13, this will be the last one. Number 13, truth or myth. Once diagnosed with breast cancer, it's very important to make treatment decisions immediately. We really covered this one already. We really covered. So I'm gonna go to number 14 because we covered that. We talked about taking your time, having time to make decisions. So number 14, myth or truth. Second opinions are only for treatment options only. You can get a second opinion for whatever you want, right? It shouldn't matter. Whatever it is that you want to get a second opinion on, whether it's surgery, treatment, whatever the doctor tells you, it's totally up to you. Totally up to you. Don't allow fear, time, the pressure of them trying to rush you through anything to have you make up your mind. You should be able to take your time and make your decision. Now, I will say, don't try to stall, have a stall tactic because you don't want to move forward. Don't do that, because time is still going to be slipping. Those cancer cells are still going to be multiplying and dividing in your body, right? So you still need to, make a decision, but make an informed decision. Make an informed decision. Tracy said time is a factor, but it's your choice. And on that note, you guys, I can't believe that time went so quick. I just want to highlight my sponsor because they make it possible for me to go live every single week. And this is Paula Kelly, and she's with Allstate. And she is also a breast cancer survivor. And Allstate speaks for itself, so I don't really have to sell you on it. She is located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois. She can be reached at 708-758-3300. You want an agency with integrity. She is your person. Then my closing sponsor is Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay. She's an independent beauty consultant catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. Go to her website, marykay.com/GDOTSON. Thank you for joining me today. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Knowledge is not power. It is only potential. Applying that knowledge is power. Understanding why and when to apply that knowledge is wisdom. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.